The Institute, MIER. The Malaysian Institute of Economic Research, or MIER, is an independent non-profit organization devoted to economic and financial research that would serve as a think tank for the government and the private sector. It was first mooted in the Prime Minister's Economic Panel and later promoted by the Council on Malaysian Invisible Trade, or COMIT. Bank Negara, as the Secretariat to COMIT, provided the initial planning work. The Institute was incorporated as a company limited by guarantee on 30th December 1985 and commenced operations thereafter. The main aim of MIER is to undertake independent and high-quality problem-oriented research on economic and financial issues facing the country, and to provide well-founded advice on macroeconomic management, development and future economic perspectives. The research projects undertaken by the Institute are mainly applied in nature and policy-oriented. The Institute is governed by a board of trustees and sets its policy directions. An advisory panel provides guidance to the Institute in the planning of its activities. The Executive Director is the Chief Executive Officer, supported by a Deputy Director and the Assistant Director. Besides its full-time research staff, the Institute engages a number of associate research fellows and consultants, as well as receives exchange staff from overseas. MIER's life cycle, a journey of 30 years. 1986 to 2000, formative years. From a single desk and a staff of 4 located at the SEA-CEN building, Jalan University, Petaling Jaya, MIER began its corporate life on 2nd January 1986 with the late Tun Ismail Ali as its first chairman of MIER's Board of Trustees and Tan Sri Datuk Dr. Kamal Saleh as the executive director. Shortly afterwards, upon Bank Negara Malaysia's generous sponsorship, the Institute was granted an office space on the 9th floor of the Block C building of B&M. As a new organization, the formative years saw the Institute carving a niche in economic policy research space, culminating into a meaningful role as the central repertoire to the National Economic Consultative Council, or NECC, chaired by the then Prime Minister himself, Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad. In 1994, another milestone was achieved with the appointment of the late Tan Sri Basir Ismail as the chairman and Tan Sri Datuk Dr. Sulaiman Mabob as the executive director. Under Tan Sri Sulaiman's leadership, MIER was commissioned to undertake the Second Industrial Master Plan, or IMP2, and the National Fishery Study. During this period, 1986 to 2000, the Canadian government, through the Canadian International Development Agency, or CIDA, provided the Institute with grants for the support of consultancy and staff exchange, purchase of equipment, and the establishment of the MIER Canada Resource Centre, which was officiated by the then HE Miss Jean C. McCloskey, the High Commissioner for Canada to Malaysia on 29 June 2001. 2001 to 2008, growth and development years. Dato Dr. Muhammad Arif succeeded Tan Sri Sulaiman Mabob as the Executive Director in 1997. He served under the chairmanship of Tan Sri Sharif Qasim until 2009. Due to its expansion, MIER also moved to its new home in Menara Daya Bumi. During this period, Malaysia experienced 2 major economic downturns in 2004, 2005 and 2008-2009, both of which had a direct impact on the Institute that was severe and deep. As the new millennium began, the Institute was able to raise its profile among donors and contributors from both the government, bilateral aid agencies, as well as private corporations. Some among them are large public conglomerates, resulting in the Institute's endowment fund breaching the 20 million ringgit mark. The Institute also had to resort to undertaking a delicate balancing act of continuing to deepen its role in policy-oriented national agenda research programs, as opposed to undertaking contracted consultancy projects. The core mandated activity remains macroeconomic monitoring, surveillance, and forecasting. which is supplemented by other quarterly surveys conducted by the Institute. These activities have contributed much to the Institute's profile because of the rigorous analysis. MIER contributed to the National Policy Dialogue by leading the Third Industrial Master Plan, or IMP3, and the Restrictive Business Practices Study. It also worked actively with organizations such as the ASEAN Secretariat and the East-West Center in Hawaii on regional trade issues. Another core activity during this period was capacity or institutional building and training projects, which have gained prominence over the years. These projects have assisted the newly emerging economies in their development planning, human resource development, and integration of their economies into the regional and global economies through bilateral, regional, and multilateral channels. The Institute had been successful in carrying out such projects in Central Asia, Southeast Asia, Timor-Leste, and Africa. These projects have helped enhance the Institute's international links and reputation in Central and Southeast Asia and Africa. It is noteworthy that these projects have been carried out in collaboration with prominent international organizations. 2009 to present, the plateau years. Emeritus Professor Dr. Zakaria Abdul Rashid took on the helm as Executive Director on 1st January 2010. 2 years later, Tan Sri Sulaiman Mabob was appointed Chairman of MIER. The Institute also found a new home in Jalan Bukit Betaling. Entering the current phase, this third phase, which could loosely be termed as the plateau years, the Institute continued to grapple with the perennial debate of balancing its research agenda amidst heightened financial constraint, amidst uncertainties in both the domestic and global economic environments. Under the leadership of Professor Zakaria, MIER has been developing its input-output capabilities and computable general equilibrium model, organizing courses and training programs, as well as undertaking several state development projects. MIER today. MIER has come a long way. 30 years in 2016, to be exact, a milestone clearly worthy of mention. As an independent economic think tank, the period spanning 30 years is a period of marking its contribution to nation building and one in which the Institute established a reputation as a prolific, reliable and independent economic think tank of substance. Today, MIER's reputation is translated into a formidable brand equity which is respected and recognized both at home and abroad. In the 2008 Global Survey of Think Tanks conducted by the Think Tanks and Civil Societies Program International Relations Program of the University of Pennsylvania, MIER was ranked among the top 25 out of 653 think tanks in Asia. The Institute boasts, among its many clients, the government of Malaysia, several state governments in the Federation, and the corporate sector, international and regional organizations and national institutions of foreign countries, all of which have been instrumental in contributing to the Institute's overall achievement. Local and foreign guests and visitors are also a regular feature at MIER. The Institute also provides consultation at a small fee to organizations seeking advice or alternative views on the economic happenings in the country. Funding of the Institute. The Institute's activities are funded by income from an endowment fund established with contributions from private corporations and the government. Direct project funds as well as consultancy fees make up the rest of the Institute's budget. MIER is indeed grateful for the contributions made so far by the government and the private sector. But the Institute would require much more to reach its endowment fund target. MIER does require some assurance of financial stability to allow all its energy to be devoted to the attainment of its research activities and, most importantly, to remain the independent research organization that it was meant to be. The future. the second 30 years. 30 years is a laudable milestone for any organization. Fast forward, the Institute, commencing in 2016, will focus on its original mandate of original in-house policy-oriented research. Its primary goal is the conduct of an objective and independent analysis and maintaining the credibility of economic information services in line with the Institute's stature as an independent economic think tank. Profound as the move to change is, it is founded upon the value proposition that the Institute will have to become a full endowment. Towards this end, fundraising to enhance MIER's endowment fund would become more strategic. The goal of the Strategic Capital Raising Exercise 2016 to 2018 is to raise 300 million ringgit. As a result, the Institute will be remodeled as an ASEAN version of the American National Bureau of Economic Research, or NBER, an economic research institute of more than 100 years, standing par excellence.
This year, MIER will be celebrating our 30th anniversary, and we are going to continue our role, MIER, as an independent think tank and supporting our stakeholders, the private sector, public sector, as well as regional research institute around the region. And in doing this, we need a lot of support, either financially or institutionally, to support our research activities.
Malaysian Institute of Economic Research, otherwise called MIER, is an independent think tank. It was established by the government as well as the private sector in the 80s to undertake independent economic analysis. So we have been established about 50 years ago, and we have contributed to the understanding of the Malaysian macroeconomy, greater understanding of public economic policies, for the benefit of the Malaysian society. It's our role to give independent opinion so that those who are involved in policymaking are exposed to a lot of options, not only from the government side, but also from the private sector side. Independent economists, professional, and they are equipped with a lot of macroeconomic analysis, a lot of economic tools, so that their views are professional and help the country develop economically for the benefit of all of us in Malaysia. Thank you very much. I take the opportunity to congratulate MIER for its 30th year celebration. Thank you.